this one.
Hi guys, my name is Ryan Turley. I'm a music production tutor for MVP Workshops, and today we're going to be getting into the second session of the Thursday tutorials that we're going to be putting out. This is going to touch on the basics of Logic, the music production software. I hope you enjoy. Take care.
The same project was previously. BPM I was going to talk a little bit more about. We're going to touch on the piano roll as well, which is another window you can open to go further into what you record in your MIDI regions, do a bit of post-editing. And I was going to talk about the navigation toolbar as well. So let's get into it with the how to record MIDI. We're exactly where we left off, so let's close the loop section over here. Let's close the typing because we don't need that just this moment. We're going to be looking over here at library. So this is your navigation toolbar at the top. So we already touched on it with regards to the cycle region. Over here on the left we've got the library. In the library, same as the Apple loops, you've got categorized catalogue list of sounds provided to you from Logic. These are synthesized sounds, most of them, electronic basically. Some of them are real recorded sounds, so if you go into basses, for example, Liverpool bass, thumb bass, things like this, these are actual instruments that have been sampled and basically electronically collated and put together within a synthesizer in order to play back through Logic, so they are based off of real sounds. Then you've got something like under the synthesizer category, you've got basses under here that are generated sounds through oscillation within an actual synthesizer. So these are, technically speaking, rooted electronic sounds from original. Whereas, as I said, the basses in the other section over here, where are we? Over here. These source sounds are from actual instruments. So there is a bit of variation with regards to what sounds you've got over here. I'm going to be showing you how to basically put one of these sounds into your arrangement window. We already used pre-made loops that have been put together for you, and now we're going to basically be making these ourselves. So let's go with, we already have a piano loaded up here, so we'll try it with that. All you need to do is literally just click on the sound and it loads it straight to that channel. So I'm going to go back to piano, try and see if we can stick a little something down, record something in. I'll show you exactly how to do that now. In your navigation bar, you have you record, you play, you start from the beginning, go to the beginning, rewind and fast forward. Up here you've got your loop section. Make sure you're looping the section you want to record in for ease of keeping you in that area that you're recording. This over here is a 1, 2, 3, 4 counting. So when you hit record, if your playhead is here at the number 1 and you hit record and you do not have that switched on, you'll instantly start recording from the number 1, which doesn't give you preparation time to even get your fingers to the keys. So turn that on and that will give you one whole bar, so 4 beats before it starts, which gives you a little time to get yourself prepared to actually record. This one here is your metronome, so every beat within a bar, every time that playhead moves across one of those beats, having this turned on will make you hear a click every time it goes across, which keeps you in time, in the timing regions of the project and move into your BPM. Let's turn that on and we will open our musical keyboard. I did that with a shortcut Apple K or Command and K to bring that up. If you've got a MIDI keyboard plugged in, you won't need to do that, but I'm doing this just so you can visually see what I'm doing. So up here, hit record, and we will try and find something to play along with this. Go ahead and press record, and it will give me a 4-bar counting, a 4-beat counting. Click stop or play with your spacebar or whatever to stop the actual recording. And now you have your MIDI region recorded in with the sounds that you've just played on your piano. Now you can see this window that's just opened up. I double clicked on that MIDI region. Let's close the keyboard because we're no longer typing keys in. we now have the piano roll open, which is essentially just expanding this, opening this MIDI region that we've just recorded in to allow us to do post-editing after we've laid those keys down. So now you can see exactly what keys you just recorded here and here. As you can see, the timing of those keys is, they're kind of all over the place, it's terrible. So unlike live music, if you make a mistake, it's too late, it's already out there, it's already been heard. This, if I make a mistake and it sounds stupid, I can go in and edit it and pull it back into timing how I want it to sound. There are a lot of factors that come into doing this. So for example, doing this on percussion with drums, you wouldn't want to do exactly what I'm doing now. I'm bringing the notes, the start of the notes, bang on to either the beats or the bars. So it's going to be very rigid. With percussive sounds, drums, even with pianos, melodic sounds, things like that, a lot of the time natural error, so to speak, of a human playing those, they won't be rigid, they won't be bang on these lines, on the beats and bars, which will allow a natural swing, which gives it a natural movement in music. So there are those variations to think about when you're post-editing for timing. You don't want it to sound too computerized, too robotic. I'm not focused on that too tough right now, because these keys I just want to impact alongside something out here in the arrangement window that already has natural swing. So I don't really have to think too much about it right now. Now I've pulled them all back on to time. You can hear the metronome, and they play to that metronome. So that's it, we've recorded that in. That is a MIDI region recorded in that is basically us creating our own pre-made sound. We have created one of these. Moving on, talking about BPM as we was earlier on, so each genre of music has a different kind of BPM range. Now, I like to think that rules in music are made to be broken, so necessarily I can make a drum and bass track at 120 BPM, which isn't textbook drum and bass BPM. It isn't. It's kind of out of the box, so to speak. But most genres, all genres have their own specific, by the book, BPM region. So 89 BPM, kind of this region of BPM would be more hip hop, laid back kind of time frame. Whereas drum and bass, if you're looking at something of that kind of speed and that intensity, that would be more 170 BPM, 170. You've got something like grime music, that is sitting at about 140 BPM. Trap music is about the same, maybe 130, 120. House music tends to be at about 120, 130, 140. So it depends on the genre, what you're creating, how fast or how slow you want the playhead to move through the project and actually read that information as it puts it out. Navigation toolbar we was going to talk about, so we've already touched on the library up here. We have an inspector as well, which is essentially the channel strip in the arrangement window. We've got the grand piano selected at the moment. It's a closer look at that grand piano. So imagine if you grab this channel strip, flip it sideways so it's now upwards, standing up, and you're zoomed in, you're looking in on it. This is what you've got here. So I'm going to close the library a second just so you can see just this. So you've got the volume control here, which is the same as this volume control here. And remember what I said, it's just turned sideways. So I'll bring this volume down, that volume up there goes down as well. You've got panning left and right, so where you want that audio source to travel to as in your audio output. If you've got two speakers in front of you, which would be stereo, you've got a left and a right. If you wanted that sound to only come out of the left, you would go this way. And if you wanted it only out of the right, you would go that way. But if you wanted it a little bit out of the right, more out of the right than the left, you would kind of go over there. You get the drift. It kind of just allows you to direct where that source of audio is going and the final output will be. Buses and where the routing of this audio goes, a bit more detailed. I'm not going to touch on that now. You can find other tutorials that will dive into that, and I'm pretty sure we will be creating more tutorials in the future where I can dive into that with you. This is your stereo out, this is your output. Where is your audio going? You can have a no output, which means that this channel strip will end up not being in your final output at all. It won't go anywhere, it's not routed, you're blocking it. You've got a stereo output and surround. Again, buses wherever you want to route this audio to, you can select here. I'm going to leave it on stereo out because that means it's going out to my master output channel and you'll be able to finally hear it. This is your effects processes here in this section. So you can see we've got channel EQ, compressor and tape delay. I'm not going to go into what they actually are right now individually, but essentially these are effects that you can put on your sound, your piece of audio, to make it, to bend how it sounds, to shape it. And this here is what is actually playing. This is the synthesizer that is actually playing that grand piano. That's your inspector. So close that. This one here is good to know. So inspector, what I was saying about in the inspector, we looked at one channel strip in the inspector. This is your mixer, very much like an actual outboard piece of equipment. You've got old school analog mixers and new school digital mixers that have multiple channels on them, faders and little knobs for EQ and all of that, buses, sends, all of that. This is exactly the same, it's just on your screen. So it's a synthesized version of a piece of hardware. You can see all channel strips within this. So rather than just one on the inspector, you can now visually see all of them in front of you. So for example, once you've made your piece of music and it's complete, you can then go into this and see all of the levels of your piece, your sounds individually, and you can then, by moving the faders, blend them and actually start to shape the sound of your music. That's your mixer. Then you've got the play, record and fast forward, rewind, what I was telling you about earlier on. Over here you've got your cycle region, again your 1, 2, 3, 4 counting and your metronome, Apple loops. So basically all you really need to know from that, the basics.